Welcome back. Welcome back to Living in Mexico. I'm Ana Maria Salazar. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank all of you who've been joining us throughout the years. It's always an honor to share with you information, news, analysis about what's going on in Mexico, both in English and in Spanish. You can find me or send me messages or follow our interviews as we post them on my personal channel, Gabinete de Seguridad on YouTube. You can follow the interviews at with my X account at AM Salazar or at Mexico Daily. So keep on following us, and I really appreciate all of you joining us once again this weekend. So we have there's a lot going on in Mexico, but we really got to go back to the basics every now and then, and it has to do with poverty in Mexico. And as you know, this government and the prior government of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, they had assured that the priority of their programs would be to address poverty issues in Mexico. So today, as we try to focus once again on poverty in Mexico, we've got good news and bad news. That's why I really appreciate today's guest joining us, Gonzalo Hernández Licona. He's the director of the Social Observatory at the CEEY, which is in Spanish is the Centro de Estudios Espinosa Iglesias. And I always really enjoy talking to this think tank because they give us very specific information on policies that are being implemented by this government. So, Gonzalo, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And my understanding is that there's good news and bad news. Welcome to the show. Why don't we start with the good news?
It's always nice to start with the good news, Ana Maria. Thank you very much for the invitation. I think the good news, it means that poverty has been down in Mexico for the past 8, 10 years, especially recently that, as you know, the minimum wage was increased. Therefore, that element has been a very good element to reduce poverty, because now we have a poverty, we call it labor poverty, around 32% of the households. They are in poverty, and this number has been down. And one of the elements that has been helping household is increasing the minimum wage. So so those are the good news, that every time we take a picture, let's say every quarter when we take a picture, poverty is going down. Nevertheless, so those are the good news, Ana Maria, right? Right. Let me carry on with the not good news. And just recently in this observatory, we released a number, which is an important one. With some information, we are able to track households for at least 1 year. And so we are able to track what happened to households over 1 year. And we found that those households in poverty a year ago, many of those remain in poverty now. So 66% of households who were poor a year ago, they are still poor now.
They're still poor. Okay.
Which means that, fortunately, there are many households living poverty. However, there is a number of households who remain poverty for at least 1 year. It means that they've been in poverty for a long time. They may not leave poverty soon. And therefore, what we say at the Observatorio at CEEY is we need to address them properly. The government and the society, we need to address those who are left behind, let's say, right? I mean, we don't want to say, hey, we are doing fine and everything is fine, poverty is going down. There's a bunch of households which are not making it.
So, and they're not, I guess I'm trying to understand, why aren't they making it? I mean, because we have to say, and we do need to recognize this government. President Claudia Sheinbaum has continued with these programs, injecting these cash transfers at all levels. I mean, women, men, children. I mean, maybe you have the data, the amount of cash transfers that are taking place right now. But if they are not, I mean, if there continues to still be a group of individuals or families that are not getting out of labor poverty, what does that mean? Where are the policies potentially failing? And two, what percentage, do you know what percentage of these individuals are women that basically just can't get out of labor poverty?
Well, I mean, and let me give you an example of the minimum wage. As I said before, and you know, President López Obrador, President Claudio Sheinbaum, even before, we've been increasing the minimum wage, which that element has been helping some households to leave poverty, to increase their labor income. That's fine. Nevertheless, Ana Maria, when you increase minimum wage, that doesn't reach the poorest in Mexico. Why?
Okay.
Because they work in informality. They perhaps are in the rural areas. They perhaps work in the agriculture. So the poorest in Mexico are not occupied in. They are not working formally. Therefore, the minimum wage is not reaching them. Therefore, we need other policies for them. We need policies specifically for those households who are left behind. They may be indigenous population. They might be population with very low education. There might be households in the southeast of Mexico, where traditionally we have the poorest people there. And these households are not able to leave poverty. Their social and economic mobility is not there yet for them to move out of poverty. We need specific and more targeted policies for them.
So, let me ask you questions about this issue of informality. And, and this kind of has been a question I've had in my mind for a while now. With the increase of the minimum wage, how much did those who are working in the informal sector have been benefited? Because, and this is a huge deal, because when you think about it, 50% or more than 50%, I believe, of the Mexican workers are working out of the informal
55,
sector.
yes.
55. I mean, I'm just, that number is still up. It's almost shocking when you think about it, because
Absolutely.
if it's something that has not improved in Mexico is people getting out of workers getting out of the informal economy.
So one problem with Mexico right now, a lot, and still a problem before, is that Mexico is not growing. In 2005, the annual economic growth was 0.8, and per capita by people, it was negative. So last year, the economic growth per capita was negative. It means that the demand for labor, companies willing to hire formal people, is very low, and therefore you have many people entering the labor force. Therefore, that match doesn't work, because then those without finding a formal or proper job, they are entering in the informality in a very quick speed over the last 2 years. I give you one piece of information. Over the past 2 years, the increase of people in informality was like 900,000 people. The increase in formal employment was reduced 100,000 people. So we are not improving our economic performance. We are not improving the creation of formal employment. Therefore, people have to find their daily income in another job, and those jobs are informality. And therefore, if we increase the minimum wage, Ana Maria, of course, those who are in the formal market may benefit very quickly. Those in informality may benefit a bit, because they say, well, I've been told that the wage increased like 20%, so I'm going to ask for more. But they are in informality. Therefore, the benefit for those is very low. And those who work as self-employment, those who work in agriculture, then for them, the minimum wage doesn't hold. That's not a solution. Therefore, we need to go back to the basics, as you said at the beginning. We need to go back to address those households who have been in poverty for a long time, those who have very low education, those who have very low access to health services, those who have what are in the rural areas, in the remote areas. We need to address those people who are really in need in Mexico.
Wow. Well, promise me you'll come back, because I am trying, I think we need, like you said, we need to go back to the basics, because I watch the how the Mexican government reports on how especially poverty has been reduced in Mexico, which is good. I mean, I think we
Right.
have to recognize it, and I think we have to recognize that, increasing the minimum wage was probably one of the best decisions that was made, because it didn't
Absolutely.
destroy the business. It didn't destroy the economy. Inflation didn't hike up, and
Sure.
businesses continue to thrive up to a certain point in Mexico. The problem is the informal sector, and with cash transfers in the way it's being done in Mexico, which also has been a life-saving policy for families, especially I would say right now that the remittances from the United States are going down, and I
Sure.
think the trend is going to continue to go down. I mean, these cash transfers are, well, at least maintain people out of extreme poverty. The problem is what's next in the next couple of years. So I just, that's, I think, is now, once you're starting to kind of resolve the short-term problem, the issue is it sustainable? Is the cash transfer sustainable? And two, is there any possibility of growth in the next years? And it just doesn't seem that the current policies are going to allow for that. One last comment, Gonzalo.
I think targeting our scarce resources for those who are more in need is so important.
Right.
Right? Today, what we deliver for the poorest is less than we had 8 years ago. So we need
Oh.
to go back to a better targeting and to focus both not only in cash transfers, Ana Maria, but how can we improve the quality of the education and the health
Right.
services for
Right.
those who are poor. So that's our challenge to increase the social and economic mobility for those left behind.
Gonzalo Hernández Licona, I really appreciate you joining us. He is the director of the Social Observatory at the Centro de Estudios Espinosa Iglesias. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend on Living in Mexico.
Thank you very much, Ana Maria. All the best.
Thank you. We're going to go to commercial break. I'm Ana Maria Salazar, and you're listening and watching Living in Mexico. Please don't go away. I'll be right back.